I wrote down all the things I was good at, all the things I was bad at, and all the things I loved doing, all the things I hated doing. So in the first year, we lost 60 grand, and in the second year, we lost 70 grand. We won't be putting you on the books where we've classified you as unemployable. Unemployable. I would have had a nightmare. I would have had everything rejected. It would have bankrupted us. We're on a journey from 50 to 100 million. Everything that we do has to be remarkable. Otherwise, we shouldn't be doing it.
This is the Leeds Business Podcast, and I'm your host, Phil Fraser. This week, we speak to Simon Brown, founder of fashion and lifestyle brand Joe Brown's. Simon tells us where the inspiration for the brand came from, shares with us the business ups and the personal downs of COVID, being told that he was unemployable, and he shares with us a great checklist for starting your own business. Rasputin and Ivan the Terrible get name checks too. Before we start, I have one simple request. Please hit the follow or subscribe button on the app that you're listening on. That's it. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's get into what is a really captivating and engaging episode. Today's Leeds Business Podcast, we have on Simon Brown, founder and creator of Joe Brown's. Good morning, Simon.
Oh, good morning, Phil. And thanks very much for having me on. I've listened to some of your other podcasts, and you've had people like Jamie Peacock, James Brown from Loaded, Gabby Yorath's mum. She won't like to be described as Gabby Yorath's mum, but that was interesting about her property. So I feel very honoured to be here and having a chat with you, Phil. It is just a chat in the pub, this, isn't it?
It is. We're not technically in a pub, but it's like being in a pub.
That's it. That's cool.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to start this episode with a confession. I read about Joe Brown's opening their new store in the White Rose back in September, and I'd never heard of you. So if there are any other listeners who are in the same boat, just give us one sentence. What is Joe Brown's?
Oh, sure. Well, I'm surprised you've never heard of us. It's a multi-channel retailer, started on the internet and mail order, grew and grew through partnerships, which I can tell you about if you're interested. And then we've started retail. So retail is good because it introduces people to us that wouldn't normally have heard of us. And we've been in business 25 years last October, and you'd never heard of us. I don't know where you go or what you do, Phil, but you should have done.
I'll be popping down to the White Rose immediately after this episode. So let's start at the beginning, which is always the best place to start. Give us a brief resume of Simon Brown up to the point where you came up with the idea.
Oh, right. Okay. Gosh, you say brief. How long have I got?
I'll give you 2 minutes.
I don't know. Well, anyway, okay. I left school. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I just wanted an exciting life. So I just wanted an exciting life. So I saved up £800 and got a one-way ticket to New York. I was 19 at the time. I knew nobody outside the country. And then I worked my way all the way around the world through Canada, down through California, Hawaii, Mexico, and I ended up in New Zealand. And when I was in New Zealand, my father had a clothing business and he was finding it difficult. He asked me to come back. I'd been away about 18 months, I guess. And he asked me to come back and help him do the sales. And that's what I did, sort of reluctantly, but it was right for me to come home. I did have a ticket to Australia, but goodness knows what would have become of me if I'd stayed away another 18 months. So I came home and he gave me a Ford Escort and a bag full of samples, which were mostly donkey jackets because we sold to the dockers and the miners. In my bag, I had duffel coats because we sold those to the schools. And I also had a nice little range of incontinent pants, which were fully washable with a Velcro fly that we sold to the health authorities. And anyway, he sent me out this bag of tricks. And after a couple of months, I just was so disillusioned. So I said to him, I mean, business was very tough. We had a couple of factories and they were on short time. So he said, look, we just got to fill the factory with some products, give the girls something to sew. So we had 250 machinists. And so I started buying samples from retailers and then basically copying them or maybe enhancing them slightly and selling them to the markets. So Leeds market, Sheffield market, Wakefield market, and some of these guys that were sharp as tacks and I knew that I was getting skinned. So I went out and bought a couple of books, Negotiate to Close by Gary Carras and Success is a Choice by Rick Pitino. And I read these, and it taught me really everything I needed to know, because I left school with no qualifications. I didn't go to university. So I read and learned. And then I used to get on and practice on these guys in the markets. And there was a whole chapter on power of scarcity. Well, that worked a treat. So then there was the power of silence. I was going to play a little trick on it, but I won't, because otherwise neither of us would be talking, and it's excruciatingly painful. But someone always cracks. And when they crack, the deal goes in your favour. So I had all these little tricks. I just had a lot of fun. And then, are we okay? Have I talked too long? Because
no, that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine.
So then I saw a pop group on Top of the Pops, and they were wearing striped boating blazers. So I asked my dad where to go and get this fabric from, and he told me, and I bought a load of this, started making boating blazers for the markets, but I put our phone number in the back label. And then Top Man had seen these boating blazers. They were exceptional, and rung me up and said, "Are you the guy making the boating blazers?" I said, yeah. Well, you better come and see us. So I go to London, start dealing with Top Man, and then Cecil G saw these blazers. They were, as I say, exceptional. And Cecil G, two guys, Roland and Nigel G, two brothers who were fantastic. You might remember Cecil G.
I'm old enough to remember Cecil G.
Yeah, they were fabulous. They were selling Hugo Boss and all the best brands. Two lovely guys. And so I started selling printed seersucker trousers to them with a little white belt that we gave away for free. And then there was a big show in Italy, and they said, look, there's this big menswear show, Pitti Uomo, in Florence. You should come with us. And they invited me along, which was a game changer. So you go to this show, you see all the best in the world at this show. And my dad said, if you're going over there, there's a place called Prato next door to Florence. It makes all the fabric. Why don't you spend an extra week and go around the mills and see what you can find? So I did that. And after that, it just took off, to be honest. And we dealt with everybody. BHS, CNA, a lot with Next, Jigsaw, Top Man, River Island, everybody actually, apart from Marks and Sparks. And we had 5 factories making for us at the time as well. So it was great. And then, this is a bit you want to hear about, I stopped enjoying it.
Right.
So I've been to London, had my ass kicked all around London by Top Man and River Island and Jigsaw. And we were delivering late, and they wanted discounts. And I stopped. I was fed up. I was coming up, got out of my car at Leicester Forest East for my usual diet of dried sausage, cold chips, and beans with skin on. But it was pouring it down with rain, and I was fed up. And I thought, I don't want to do this anymore. Because the customers weren't friends anymore. I didn't respect them. They were just like robots. So about that time, this is getting to the interesting bit. About that time, I'm putting my socks on in the morning, and my wife says, "Will you stop doing that? Will you stop doing that?" And I said, "What am I doing, darling?" And she said, "Every time you put your socks on, you go, oh dear." So I said, "Well, I'm unhappy." And she said, "What are you unhappy about?" We had a chat. She said, "Well, you should do something else." So I went away into my office, and I wrote down all the things I was good at, all the things I was bad at, all the things I loved doing, all the things I hated doing. And then I sort of, by Sunday lunchtime, I'd worked out that I should have a mail order business. And we were very much around that whole time. Everything happened within a couple of weeks, really. We were in Wales on holiday, and there's a pub called the Ty Coch pub in Morfa Nefyn. And we're in there, and I can see this group of 20-somethings in the corner, and they're got salty hair and bangles, and there's boys and there's girls. You couldn't work out who was with who, because they were just exuding all this happiness and joy and this carefree spirit and freedom. And I looked at them and I thought, that's what I should be doing. One is I should feel like them. But secondly, if I could bottle up that essence and then distribute it somehow, then that would be a great basis for a brand. Everybody else was either sporty or contemporary or whatever. So I tried to bottle this feeling and sell this feeling of joy and happiness and excitement. And that's where J. Brown's was founded. That's how it all came about. Sorry, that was more than 10 minutes, Phil.
Yeah, sorry. I'm going to have to delete all of that and we'll just start.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
Let's go back a couple of steps there. You know, you've obviously got quite a big business going. You know, I mean, what sort of turnover are we talking about at that time?
In our family business?
Yeah.
or now? In the family business?
No.
It ended when I left.
I'm just thinking, you've just decided, right, they've got this big business. It's obviously turning over a lot of money. I'm going to jack it all in and start again. That's it's quite a big step.
Oh, it was quite a big step. It was, I think it was about 7.5 million, which for a manufacturing business back in 30 years ago was quite a lot of money. It's a lot of garments. But I think when you stop enjoying something, you got to move on, don't you? Otherwise, you just end up with an unhappy life. And I must say, I wasn't really put on this planet to serve all those people that were making my life unhappy. So you've got to change, don't you? If you don't change, you put up with unhappiness. And I wasn't really put on this earth for that.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I love the idea of that. What do I enjoy? What don't I enjoy? What am I good at? What am I bad at? And starting your almost, I suppose, starting your business concept from that as a start point, I think is fantastic. And having run a business I love doing, and you obviously love doing what you're doing.
What was that? What was that, Phil? What did you do?
Well, I ran a comparison website for online bingo, which we did for 18 years before we sold.
Oh, great! Wow.
The old cliche of if you enjoy what you're doing, you don't do a day's work. And you're almost seeding that. Yeah. You're almost seeding that into your business before you start, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's got to be something you love. You say enjoy. I think I enjoy lots of things, but I don't love lots of things. But I think you have to love it, and you have to have that passion, because there's one thing for sure: along the way, there's going to be a few twists and turns, and it's going to get a bit bumpy, and there's going to be a few unexpected things happen. And if you got that passion, it'll get you through it. If you just enjoy something, then it's all right, but you got to love it. You got to feel that passion, and it gets you through anything, really. It gets you through marriage. It gets you through everything, doesn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so you've come up with this concept, sort of based on these guys in the pub. How did you go about setting up that business? What did starting that business look like? Well,
I decided I'd do all the things that I enjoyed doing. So I enjoyed parachuting. I enjoyed bungee jumping. Only once, because that wasn't much fun, actually. But whitewater rafting, and I'm a big passion of motorbikes. So where I went to see an importer when bikes were all imported through, it was a grey market, and started selling motorbikes in this catalogue. So it was fantastic. You had all this excitement, or things that I found exciting and exhilarating, all in one catalogue. It'd never been done before. And I added clothing to it as well, because we needed to sell some clothing. The margin on these fast bikes and on these activities wasn't great. So clothing, so far so good, totally unique. We sell gadgets and things as well, fantastic. Except after 2 years, I realised not many people had all the interest that I had. So it got very difficult. So in the first year, we lost 60 grand, and in the second year, we lost 70 grand. And one day, my wife, she said, "Look, I think you really need to get a proper job." And she wasn't wrong. So I go down to the recruitment company. I see this job advertised in St Albans. I could do it stood on my head. It was a mail order job, quite easy, really. Money wasn't great. It was away from home. Anyway, I go down for the interview. Seems to go pretty well. It's about an hour and a half, these two young girls. And they step out of the room to have a chit chat, and they come back in and they said, "Oh, Mr. Brown, we're not putting you forward for the job." And I said, "No, I thought they'd seen a bit more potential." I said, "Have you got something a bit higher up the food chain or a bit nearer Leeds?" And they said, No, actually, no. We won't be putting you on the books where we've classified you as unemployable." Unemployable? I know, I've just helped turn my dad's business around. Okay, I've had a couple of rum years, but unemployable, I thought it was a bit much, that. Anyway, so I go away across the road into the cafe, and I used to smoke, had a cigarette. I used to love smoking. Had a cigarette, had a coffee, had another cigarette, and another coffee. And it was unbelievable. This feeling came over me. I've read other people have had these feelings, but it was unbelievable. It was that euphoric. And I sat there and I thought, this is as bad as it's ever going to get for me. Skint and unemployable with a business that doesn't work. it's not going to get any worse than this. And I thought everything from here is up, and all I've got to do is sort this business out. I'm still the same person that helped turn my dad's business around. So I can do it. I can do it. Anyway, I go home and going through the back door, my wife says, "Oh, hi, darling. How did you get on? How did you get on?" I said, "Oh, I've got good and bad news." She said, because wives, partners, they always want the bad news first, don't they? What do you want? Do you always want the bad news first, Phil, or the good news? Do you?
Oh,
Obviously.
No, you want to have the good news. So I always want the good news first, because if the good news is so great, you're not bothered about the bad. Sometimes the good news is so good, I'm not bothered listening to what somebody else to give me the bad news. Anyway, so she wanted the bad news. Well, darling, the bad news is these two girls are nice girls, but they've classed me as unemployable. And she said, oh, okay, what's the good news? I said, oh, darling, the good news is so good. The good news is that it's going to work out. And she looked at me, and I can still see a little face. Sometimes when I tell this story, I get a bit emotional because I can see a little face inside the back that was just pitiful. And I said, no, don't look like that, darling. It's going to work out. It's going to work out, I promise. And she said, how's it going to work out? And I said, well, I don't know. I don't know, darling, but I absolutely know this is going to work out. So first thing I had to do was go and raise some money. And when you've lost 60 grand in 1 year, 70 grand the next year, raising money is a bit of a challenge. So I kissed a lot of frogs. I went to see people like Stuart Rose, who was then running the Arcadia Group, Burton's and Top Man. I used to have lovely guy. Actually, they're all nice guys. I went to see David Jones 4 or 5 times. I used to have fish and chips with him on a Friday and go and show him my plan and have a discussion. And he's a top guy. Excuse me. And anyway, none of them invested. I had 2 plans. I had a retail plan and a mail order web plan as well. So eventually I found a guy 6 months later, and that raising money was a 6-7 month period, and I could write a book on that. And some of it's very funny and some of it's very tragic. But after 6 or 7 months, I found this guy in Manchester, lovely guy, Howard Seaton. He put 100 grand in for 12.5%. And a few years later, he walked away with 3 million. So he did very well out of it, and it couldn't happen to a more decent guy. And he put a structure into the business where I had to go and see him with a friend every month to have a board meeting. And he put some structure in, so we had to answer questions, and it made us think more like business people. So, and then we went from 60 loss, 70 loss to 13 profit to 150 profit, 250 profit, 450. And then it just went along from there. And then we got into wholesale, which, because we won't borrow money. So all the way through all this, we've never borrowed.
Right. So the original business was mail order only. Is that right?
The first 2 years was mail order only. Yeah.
But then post investment.
Post investment, well, we only did menswear and these activities. So we canned the activities and the motorbikes, and we started doing ladies' wear along with menswear and accessories. So it was mail order, but we embraced the internet very early on. So this was in about, Howard's money came in. We were already online actually in year 2000. We set it up in 98. So year 2000, we're already online. But when his money came in, Jan 25th, 2001, we then started doing ladies' wear, and we started the internet, cranking up the internet. So it was like that for many years, and partnerships.
So you're very, very early. I mean, I started my business around that time. That was very early on the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, there can't have been a lot of retailers on the internet at that point.
No, I think there was a reason for that. It was very hard to get to work. Nobody knew much about it. It was unreliable. It was challenging. I would say it was challenging. But the mail order, once Howard's money had come in, the mail order worked a treat, and we moved to new premises that we rented. A lovely old boy had this mill owner's house, and he had a little shed down the road, which was the warehouse. And I think there was a total of about 8 or 9 of us in this mill owner's house. We had a great time, and then it just grew from there. And I came home one day, and one of the girls in the call center manager is on this doorstep, and she's in tears, and we're taking 300 orders, and she didn't know how she was going to process them all, and the internet was bringing orders in, and she was just drowning. So that was a bit of a milestone, and it just grew from there. And then because I'm very versed, maybe partly some being some Yorkshire, but very averse to borrowing. So, excuse me, we have no borrowing in this business, no mortgages, no borrowing, and we only do stuff when we can afford to do it. I had to look at how can I make money? How can I expand the business? Because it needed cash. I didn't want Howard putting any more in because he was going to try and take half the business, which I didn't want. So I thought if we can wholesale this product to partners, then it'd be great. And we'll make money out of wholesaling. We'll spend that on our own business. So shall I tell you this little bit of the story? It's quite good, actually. Shall I tell you?
If it's good, tell us.
Is it going all right for you?
If it's bad, you can tell us it as well. Yeah, go on, carry on.
Okay. So I rang up a lovely guy called Jim Skelsey, who was the CEO of Freeman's and Grattan, and I said, look, I've got this little mail order business. It's very different, and I'd like to do some pages in your big book. The books then were like 1,000-page books, and I'd mocked up a few pages. I put them inside his book. I went through his book. It was thoroughly boring, and I made sure I bored him to tears. I think that's like chapter 8 in Gary Carris's book. And then it got to our pages, which were exciting and vibrant and desirable. We created desire. So Levi and Wrangler would have the same model for the whole catalogue, and they'd do own brand jeans with the same model. There was no point of difference. But with us, we made a real point of difference. So he said at the end of the meeting, I like what you've got. What do you want? And I said, just 2 pages to prove a point. He said, well, I like what you've got so much, I'm going to give you 4 pages. So he gave us 4 pages, men's and ladies products, which was unusual to do both on the same 2 pages. These 4 pages were the best 4 pages in the next book by a country mile. So what happened next was fantastic. They are still owned by Otto Versand in Germany, who are the biggest biggest mail order business in the world. And Otto said, who's this company that's doing all this business with you? Get them to come over to Hamburg. So I trot off over to Hamburg, and I do a deal with these guys, but it's much bigger than I could have ever imagined. So they gave us orders. Some of the orders were for 60,000 shirts. Like nobody was writing orders out that big then. But I couldn't afford to fund it, and I didn't want to borrow. So I have this problem that the business was just too big. And it wasn't like I said, oh, can I just do half of it? It was you're in or you're out. So I had this idea to sell to them on a franchise model. So I hopped on a plane, went back a week later and said, look, all this is marvelous. What you're good at is sourcing and quality control and getting best prices for big orders. And what I'm good at is we're quite good at ideas. So what I suggest is that you buy our products off us and pay us a royalty. So on sales, so there's no risk up front. And also it didn't impact my cash. My cash, everything that came in was just profit. So they went for this. And, well, it was that or we didn't deal with them really. And I could have gone to a bank to borrow the money, but I'm glad I didn't. And I'm glad I didn't, because what I hadn't read about was that Germans are very funny about azo dyes, and our shirts were full of azo dyes. So that 60,000 shirts there were 60,000 shirts plus 20,000 jeans plus, I don't know, 50,000 t-shirts. The whole thing was massive. And, but if I had done that, our garments were full of azo dyes. Nobody ever here gives a damn about azo dyes, but in Germany they're very touchy about it. So I would have had a nightmare. I would have had everything rejected. It would have bankrupted us. So it was one of those fortunate things. So yeah, made a few quid out of that one, and just carried on investing in our business.
Right. Okay. I mean, just that whole concept. And you know, I know you sort of joke about, you know, you're a Yorkshireman, you don't like borrowing. That's quite a big tactical decision for a business, particularly a growing business, to not do that. You know, what really was the reason for just funding it through your own cash?
Well, why would you want to borrow if you didn't have to borrow?
Yeah.
And if I'd borrowed to fund that German business, I'd have gone bankrupt. So I was glad I stuck to my principles. But with borrowing, you lose freedom. The biggest thing about our business is we have total freedom. So we don't have to answer to the banks. We don't have to answer to shareholders. We just sit around this table here and we have a chit chat and we decide what's right and wrong. And then we go off and do it. And we're totally free to do whatever we want. And freedom is so much part of our brand and so much part of our DNA. And to have some I won't swear because we're on air, but to have somebody controlling you who doesn't know much about your business, who isn't really supportive, they're just creaming you off the top because you're a bit desperate. I just don't like that. It's just not right. So I always believe there is a way to do things. Like if I was prepared to borrow, like I say, I'd have gone and borrowed against those German orders, and lost my shirt. But because I wasn't prepared to borrow, then I had to work another way out. So we got into royalty, which was great. And nobody suggested that. We just dreamt it up.
There is actually a really great lesson, a great business lesson in there is, the easy solution isn't necessarily the right solution. And by crossing off the easy solution, it makes you think creatively about what ended up as a better solution.
Completely. I mean, we are, I'd describe us as a creative company. So with creativity, you get creativity in the product. Excuse me, you get creativity in everything we do. But we're also very creative with our marketing. We're very creative with ways of running the business without having to borrow money. So that creativeness, and I think a lot of it comes down to curious. I would say that we're very curious here, and people come in. We have these marketing people who come in, oh, you should be doing this, that, and the other. And they're just selling the same old dream to everybody. But when you really drill down on them, they end up leaving with nothing apart from a bit of embarrassment, because I won't swear, because they're just full of nonsense. So curiosity and creativity go hand in hand here, I think.
Very good point. Very good point. Before we carry on, I need to talk to our listeners and our viewers about the Leeds Business Podcast Fair Deal. The Leeds Business Podcast Fair Deal has two sides to it. My side of the Leeds Business Podcast Fair Deal is each week I bring you motivational, inspirational, and fascinating business owners like Simon, totally free of charge. You, listener and viewer, have two sides to your part of the deal. Part number one is I want you to recommend this podcast to one other person you feel will get benefit from it. Part number two, I'd like you to write a review or a thumbs up on the app with which you are either watching or listening to this on. That's the Leeds Business Podcast Fair Deal. Sound like a fair deal, Simon?
That sounds like a fair deal. I must say, I've been on. We went away at the weekend and I listened to 4 or 5 of them.
There you go. There you go. Simon Brown says they're all great, so give them all a listen.
Yeah, I mean it.
So we've talked about, your mail order start point, and we've talked about online, and we've talked about franchising and supplying third parties. You've recently, sort of comparative to the story, recently got into retail. Now, bricks and mortar, we read in the papers, the high street's dying. Why did you do that?
We did a lot of research a while ago, actually, pre-COVID. And we know that a customer who lives within a 25-mile radius of a store will generally spend 40% more than a customer who doesn't live within a 25% radius of a store. So the market research was pretty expensive. So we started with Meadowhall. Then we got New York, then Leeds. We're looking at Bristol at the moment, and we wholesale to smaller independents as well. And one of the smaller independents, so in fact there's a couple in today, did so well with our stuff, he wanted to turn his whole store over to Joe Brown's, which he has done. It's done a fantastic job, and it's the best trading store at the moment. And you won't believe where it is.
Go on, tell me.
Bowness.
Bowness.
When I say Bowness, yeah. When I say best trading, I mean profit-wise. So he's really on it. The way he runs it, he's really on it. So that gives us, this isn't a correct fact, but about half the people go in are Joe Brown's customers, and there's a store there, so they want to go in and try the stuff on and touch and feel it. But the other half, it's not quite half, are new people introduced to the brand. So it works both ways for us.
Right, okay.
And we could get across some other dimensions. We could get across some other dimensions to the business. So shall I explain where the idea for the stores has come from?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we got the Deal and Power designers to create the store. The first one's in Meadowhall. It's right opposite the Apple store. And they said, do you want a contemporary store? No. Do you want an outdoorsy store? No. Don't really want an outdoorsy store. what do you want? And I said, well, it's a bit different. I want it to be three things. And they're all qualities in people that I find very attractive. So I want the store to reflect these personality traits. And they all begin with the letter I. Do you want to have a guess of what they are, Phil? I'll be impressed if you can get them.
I'm not allowed to guess because I've just read them on your website.
Okay. I'd be impressed if you got them all. I want the stores to be interesting because with people, interesting people always draw you back. An interesting store does. I want them to be intriguing because if somebody intrigues you, you meet somebody at a party and they're at another party, you go and find them because they're intriguing. And I want them to be inspiring as well, because there's nothing better than inspiring people, really. And because they make you believe you can do anything, which, of course, I pretty much think you can. So with those three I's, we wanted a store that was interesting, intriguing, inspiring. And when you go in the store, for example, the changing rooms don't have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on. They have traits that we believe in. So the first changing room has confidence on the front. And when you go in the store, it's in the changing room, it says confidence, the most attractive thing you'll wear all day. And then you go, another one is liberated, because I don't know, last time you felt liberated, maybe it was when you sold your business, Phil, but feeling liberated is one of the best feelings in the world. And then another one is spontaneous. So I actually believe we should all have a bit more spontaneity in our lives. It's sort of, it just rocks it up. It makes it more exciting. So shall I tell you a little story about spontaneity?
Spontaneously tell us it, Simon.
Oh, that wasn't very spontaneous, Phil. I think there's a bit of a lapse on this line, isn't there? That wasn't very spontaneous, Phil. But spontaneity. So we had a theme in our catalogue about Russia. So a lot of the prints were Russian inspired. This is going back 6 or 7 years. And I asked everybody in the company, has anybody been to Russia? Nobody had. We didn't employ any Russians either, because I wanted to know about Russia. So I rang up a few suppliers who were well-traveled. They hadn't. And I then asked my wife, do we know anybody that's been to Russia? And we didn't. So I said to her, right, we need to go to Russia. And she said, what? I said, no, like next week. So she thought, well, I'll book the tickets. I'll book the air tickets. And I said, no, darling, we don't want to fly. We live in a little village very close to Ilkley called Menston. It's got a train line to Leeds. I said, we want to go from Menston to Moscow on the train. And I said, it'll be a lot more fun. And it'll be a bit of an adventure, and we'll understand what it's like to enter Russia through Poland and through Belarus, and you get into Moscow, it'll be proper. And it was unbelievable. Just the journey there was unbelievable, nearly non-stop. And we had to get off and change trains now and again. But the journey there was amazing. And then we got to Russia. Bloody hell, that was incredible. So now when we see it on TV, Red Square and all that, and the Hermitage, we went up there later actually. We've got a real understanding of how it was. And it was in February. So it was, what was it? It was minus 21 degrees. All the rivers were frozen. When we went up to St. Petersburg, all the river, everything is frozen. It was proper cold. And you properly get an understanding of what Russia's like. And then being curious, I did a bit of swatting up on the history. And I found that fascinating. Ivan the Terrible. Have you heard of Ivan the Terrible?
Of course I've heard of Ivan the Terrible.
Well, he was an absolute shocker, that guy. And I read up about him and then Rasputin because of the Boney M song. So I was learning all this stuff about Russia. And it was fascinating. And we came back with loads of stories, loads of ideas, these big fox hats that we sold. It was just a fantastic trip. Went up to St. Petersburg, where they've got the Hermitage, which I'd never even heard of the Hermitage. And that was absolutely mind-blowing. So, yeah, so that became from spontaneity. So everybody needs a bit of spontaneity in their lives. So, yeah, there's a few other things. We have intoxicating as well. It's good to get intoxicated with enthusiasm and everything else. So, yeah, that's how it works here, really.
Fantastic. Let's just wheel back, because often I get different answers from different guests. How was COVID for you?
Well, me personally or the company?
Well, the way you laugh, I suspect there's something personal, but I was asking about the company.
Do you want both versions?
Yes, please.
Right. Well, I'll go me personally. So COVID for me personally was shocking. I woke up one morning, I couldn't breathe. I won't tell you the whole story. I couldn't breathe, so went down to the hospital, and I ended up having 12 months in bed, 13 operations, and came right to the brink of pegging out a couple of times. So it wasn't good for me, but that was the whole 12 months COVID for the business. But I came through it, which is a great thing. So you look a bit concerned there, Philip.
You've just said you had 12 operations. What on earth happened?
13.
Sorry, 13. What's one operation between friends?
Well, you've obviously not had many operations. It's quite a big deal.
No, but serious question. 13 operations is, what? Oh, I don't want to pry, but...
No, I don't mind. I'll tell you very quick, because I know my friends will all take the mickey out of me about this, but I woke up, couldn't breathe, and I had pulmonary embolisms in my lungs, but whoppers. So I get out in hospital, they scanned me. This is just when COVID started, literally the week that lockdown happened. So I have these pulmonary embolisms, and they don't know what's caused it. I think I've got cancer, but I haven't got cancer. I've got a 20 mil kidney stone in the tube, not in the kidney, in the tube. And my kidney was exploding. So all the pain I was suffering as well was because my kidney was exploding. So anyway, he shoves this rod into my kidneys to bring the urine out and down into a bag. And he didn't know at the time, he goes through a renal artery. Anyway, I go home after about 10 days, but I'm not well. And then one night, next night, I wake up and everything's literally exploded inside me. So I end up with sepsis, and I have filters put in my lungs, and I have grommets put in my kidneys, and all sorts of horrible stuff. And then I obviously have to have them removed. But it was a bit grim for a while, yeah. But it was grim for a little while, yeah. But on the other side, the directors did a great job running the business, and we actually built a new warehouse right through COVID. So when I went off ill, they were just about to dig the car park up, and I'm ill. And Darren rings me and says, "Well, this COVID thing has started. It's terrible. We don't know how it's going to end up. And you're not well. Should we continue with digging the car park up?" And I say, "Yeah, you'll have to. Yeah. Let's continue." Well, none of this will last forever. So we dug the car park up and built a fabulous new warehouse, which is on 3 floors. It's double mezzanine in it, and about £3.5 million. So when I came back from being ill, I was off a bit more than a year, actually. I was off maybe 14, 15 months. When I came back, there's this whole new warehouse that just seemed to appear from nothing. And business for us, we were very, very fortunate. Sometimes you just get lucky, don't you? And we were very fortunate because we'd launched a homeware range in that February. COVID kicked off, I think, in March. We'd launched a homeware range in February, and what do you call it? Loungewear, I think. Yeah. A loungewear range as well in at the same time. So we just happened to launch these two things, which were 18 months in the planning, just when everybody wanted all that stuff. So COVID for us actually wasn't too bad, and people couldn't go to the shops. And we only had 2 shops at the time. They couldn't go to the shops, so they just bought online. So all online retailers did well, but there was a slight twist to that everybody thought that would continue when COVID went, and it didn't. People went back to the stores and spent less online. So everybody got caught out with a bit too much stock, say 18 months after that. So, yeah, it was personally not great, but business-wise, it was fine.
Something you said there, in business, sometimes luck plays a big part. It's right. We had it with our business, right place, the right time. And not enough people actually hold their hands up and go, "Do you know what? There was some luck involved." And you have to be lucky. You have to be lucky in business.
Yeah, but don't you think you make a lot of your own luck?
Yeah, you do. But you have, and also when that luck turns the right way, you have to be able to take advantage of it. And obviously you did, because you had the processes and the backup in place to take advantage of that. So let's just go fast forward to now. So we've got mail order, we've got retail, we've got supply, we've got pseudo franchising, you've got retail, you've got outlet. What does the plan look like going forward?
Well, I'm very excited. We've just we've got a new chairman and we've got a new CEO. And both of them, I have to say, I don't know, I have a great deal of confidence in the future. We're on a journey from 50 to 100 million. It slowed down considerably with cost of living crisis, etc. And last autumn, winter was a tough season for us, but we've got some cracking people in the business and the directors, and we just got some great people in the business, and we're in great shape. So the future, to answer your question, I think looks pretty good. We do no export whatsoever. So there's the whole of abroad, and our new chairman has come from a foreign business, has so many contacts, which we're exploiting at the moment. I don't want to say too much because you shouldn't be counting your chickens at this stage. But so there's export and there's range extension as well, both in ladies' wear and in homeware. Both the CEO and the chairman came from a company called Laradoo's, and homeware, they expanded from 700 to 1.1 billion on homeware. So there's a lot of exciting things. We just signed off swimwear and holiday wear this morning, and it is, and I'm not just saying this, the best. We are having a whale of a time on swimwear at the moment. But the swimwear ranges next spring, summer are the best I've ever seen. They're world class. So there's a lot of excitement, range extensions, exports. I think retail will be part of it. And we just need to, you didn't know this, you were saying, Phil, which I'm surprised about. But there's a lot of people who don't actually know about it. So I don't know what the coverage is. It's quite low for a business our size. And if you add up all our partners' sales, because we deal with Next, we do a lot with Next, a lot with Very, a lot with Freeman's, a lot with the M. Brown Group, which is Giacomo and Simply Be. And if you add all our sales up, they're about 125 million now when you take their gross sales. So I'm surprised you'd never heard of us, but there are a lot of people like you. So there's a lot to go at. I feel the same level of excitement now as I did, 20 years ago when House Money came in. So
that's brilliant. That is brilliant that you're still that excited. A couple of things I want to pick on. Firstly, I'm actually due to go to York Designer Outlet tomorrow, so I will pop in your shop. I'll tell the person you some
vouchers. Have you got?
Oh yeah.
You know me. Do you know me now, Phil?
Yeah, I know Simon.
I
Give
feel
me a discount.
We know each other. Yeah, I know Phil Fraser.
Just going back, you said you've now got a chairman in, you've got a CEO in. This is your baby, your business. You're the founder. How do you deal with that? Because you've now, in effect, put somebody above you. How does that work from a personal point of view and a
absolutely
point of view and all sorts of things?
They're both above me, way above me, I would say, Phil. They're just a lot more talented. So I decide what I want in life, and I just keep going until I get it. But then I see that I can only do so much, but other people have skill sets to take it to a different level. And then I'm honest enough to know that I'm sort of at the level of my skill set. And I can see the way they work, and sitting in a meeting with a pair of them, for me, is an absolute joy. So you've got to be honest with yourself. You've got to be honest with yourself. I've done about as well as I can do. And I have to say, I've done better than I thought I would do. So now it's somebody else's time to do it. And I enjoy watching them operate. They're on a different level to me with a different skill set. So I think you've got to want to do it. If you brought somebody in and you didn't want them to take control, it would be a different thing. But I really want them to take us to another level. It's very exciting. Very exciting.
Brilliant. Now, we ask all our guests every week to give us a how-to. So, Simon, tell us what your how-to is going to be and tell us how to do it.
Well, actually, there's a very big caveat to everything I've said today, Phil, and that is that all I've done is tell you my little story, and what I'm going to tell you now is only what I think, but they're not necessarily right, and there'll be a lot of people, a lot of different opinions. But seeing as you've asked me the question, I'll give you what I think with that caveat. Yeah. So I think the most important thing. So I'm going to talk about if you want to set a business up, what you need to think about. The most important thing for me is to decide what you want to do. And it has to be something that you love doing, because they're going to be difficult times. The second thing is and I didn't do this. So when I set up our business and it was all about fast bikes and activity days, I should have looked at that and realised it was just a tiny market and it was only menswear. So if I'd researched what I was going to do, I wouldn't have made that mistake. So research, read everything you can, talk to a lot of people, and then consume all that. So really understand, you might have a passion, you might love what you're going to do, but you got to look at it and see if it is realistic. For me, I just kept on going, so I got there in the end. But I should have done a lot more research, and I would have learned to set it up in a different way. The third thing is you got to have this desire. I don't know if enough people in this world have enough desire, and with desire, it has to be when you get up in the morning, you want to get to work, you want to see how things have turned out, you want to develop a dress you've just found in Amsterdam. You know, that desire has to be in place. Without a desire, you're not really going anywhere. And then I mentioned this book earlier, actually, Rick Pitino, Success is a Choice. It's a great book, and that basically teaches you that it teaches you work ethic. And sometimes he was a college basketball coach that went into life coaching, and in the last few minutes of a game, whether it be rugby or football or even cricket, some of those England victories, or basketball like he did, I come down to who deserves it the most. And the reason that we have done all right is because we actually deserve it. That isn't me, that's everybody in the business. We work hard, we have a good work ethic, and we're straight, and we don't shirk training on a Thursday night. We're in here training. So I think you have to earn the right. And I think you have to enjoy with a couple of little points. You have to enjoy the journey. So there's going to be ups and downs and twists and turns, but you have to basically enjoy that. And when you get something when I had no money and I was told I was unemployable, I still enjoyed the challenge of going to talk to all these people and trying to get them to invest in the business. It was a bit demoralizing at time, but I still actually enjoyed the challenge, and I met some great people. You don't get better than Stuart Rose and David Jones. So you've got to enjoy it, I think. So enjoy the journey. And then lastly, never, ever, ever give up. Once you give up, you're off the park, you're finished, and you're going to have to do something else. So don't give up. And I'm not saying that a lot of people do, but most of the people that have developed something that's meaningful have just kept going. It's one of the most, I think Winston Churchill had a great quote about never giving up. And he had a few others as well. And lastly, very lastly, and people forget this, you've got to understand the numbers. You've got to understand those. And if you're not good with numbers, then you have to make yourself good with numbers, because you have to understand them, because nobody can pull the wool over your eyes when you're discussing numbers. So understand the numbers. Here endeth the lesson, Phil. Only according to me.
Simon, that is brilliant. That is all of that is so spot on. You're absolutely right. You've referenced a couple of books while I've been talking. There will be links to both books in the show notes, so people can refer to them. Two more questions. Number one, we always ask our guests to give another Leeds business a shout out. So who are you going to give a shout out to?
This is a great business. It's you have to understand that I don't always follow all the rules. So you ask about a Leeds business, but this is actually a York-based business. But because it's in Yorkshire, York isn't far away, I think I can get away with it. Is that all right, Phil?
Oh, I'll bend the rules for you.
Good lad. It's a business called theheroesjourney.com, and it was started by a guy called Charlie Simpson Daniel. He has a great partner in crime, James Holsworth, and I wanted to invest in this business, and so nearly did, but there was just a little thing that we just couldn't agree on, and I haven't done, and they've just gone on. They've gone on to greatness, and they're only quite new, but when you meet these guys, Charlie Simpson Daniel has a passion that is second to none, and a determination. And what they do is they sell biltong chocolate, ostrich burgers, pet treats. They bring a whole new packaging and a whole new desire to food, and they supply all the really big retail, all the big major retailers they supply. And the reason I want to give them a shout out is they deserve success, and they are dynamic and they're passionate. So I'd like to give them a shout out. And I'll tell you something, Phil. If you're looking for your next guy to interview, you couldn't go wrong with Charlie Simpson Daniel. He's only young. He's only 33, 34. But yeah, you want to keep an eye on him. I'd interview him if I were you. He's a top lad.
Well, breaks the rules. He's in York, you know. All right. Anyway, I'll consider that. Sorry. One last question for you, Simon. And I heard you talking about this on another podcast. The word remarkable. And you try and instill that in everything in your business, don't you? Just talk us through the whole remarkable concept within the business.
Yeah, okay. Oh, well, thanks for asking that, Phil. I was going to mention it when I talked about the 3 I's, interesting, intriguing, inspiring, but I thought I was going on a bit, so I deliberately didn't. But thanks for asking. It's remarkable came about when my wife was in a supermarket wearing one of our dresses, and 2 people in the supermarket going around the aisles remarked on the dress, and she gets to the checkout and somebody remarked on it. So we're in a board meeting just the next day, and waiting for it to start. And I said, no, Mandy was down in the supermarket the other day. 3 people remarked on a dress. And Alison, our merchandise director, said, well, I was at a kid's parents' evening, and 2 people remarked on the skirt I was wearing. And Tracy, they're all lovely, actually. Tracy, our marketing director, doesn't like to be left out. She said, well, I was in the cinema 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I'm putting my coat on at the end of the movie. And this lady's looking at me in a strange way, and she's wanting to know what label is in the jacket, in the coat, because she loved the coat so much. And I said, I think the meeting continued. I said, well, I think something in this word remarkable. Let's make that at the very top of our pyramid. And it's true, that's what we did. So if you ring the call centre with a problem, could be anything, parcels lost, buttons fallen off, it could be anything, but you ring the call centre and you're annoyed, I can guarantee that you'll leave that call and remark to the person next to you, well, of your person, that all the world is okay again, they're sorting everything out for you. So we don't employ, so they'll remark on the service. We don't employ call centre people, we employ great people who love chatting on the phone that can work a keyboard. And so that's remarkable. And when you buy something from us, the packaging and the bag, the printing on the bag is remarkable. You'll remark on it. And when you're ironing a shirt for the 20th time, you'll remark on that. You'll say, this shirt still irons like it's new. So everything that we do has to be remarkable. Otherwise, we shouldn't be doing it. Otherwise, we have to make it remarkable. And I think that's really what sets us apart from a lot of other people. This desire to be remarkable in everything we touch.
And I think on that note, the desire to be remarkable, Simon, it's been absolutely fantastic talking to you. I'll make sure I go and buy some of your products. Thanks for being a guest on the show.
Oh, thank you very much, Phil. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed it too. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode. I hope you found it interesting, inspiring, and of use. To make sure you don't miss out on any future episodes, please subscribe to the show. Go on, do it now. Do it now before you go off and do something else. Thank you. Much appreciated. Oh, and don't forget our fair deal. See you next week.